What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we will be breaking down our last series of the first round with the Detroit Pistons against the Orlando Magic. So let's hop right into it. The Pistons are coming into the playoffs as the number one seed in the East with a 60-22 record, having won 8 of their last 10 games, and the Magic are coming in as the 8th seed, having won in the play-in versus the Charlotte Hornets, and they had a 45-37 record in the regular season, winning 7 of their last 10 games. And looking at some stats now, we see that the Pistons have been very solid on both ends of the court this season and have pretty much led the East all season long with the third best net rating in the league. And the Pistons have also done a great job on the glass using their strength and physicality on both sides of the ball. Whereas Orlando has really struggled to shoot the ball this season, and they have not had much offensive consistency with the amount of injuries that they've had. And the Magic have been a solid defensive team, but they will certainly have to score in order to keep up with Detroit in this series. And looking at some advanced stats now, Detroit has been a top 3 offensive rebounding team this season, and they will definitely need to continue to attack the offensive glass. And the Pistons have a great defensive structure and a lot of versatile, switchable defenders, and a main reason why they have the second best defensive rating in the league at 109.7. And for Orlando, they are the best in the league in terms of free throw rate and do a good job of attacking the rim and getting to the basket, and they will have to continue to do that in this series. And the Magic, again, are a good defensive team, but they will definitely have to be more disruptive and force more turnovers against the Pistons. And looking at the play type percentiles via synergy, we see that Detroit has not exactly been great in any specific action on offense, and in fact, they have really struggled in the pick and roll. However, the Pistons are excellent against pretty much all actions on defense, and they are extremely disruptive on that side of the ball. Whereas Orlando also has not really been good in any action on offense besides transition. And the Magic have also done a good job of defending transition opportunities, and that will definitely be a key area in this series for them. And now looking at some lineups, first for the Pistons, their starting lineup has been pretty healthy this year, recording 526 minutes together, and they've also been very solid and efficient with a plus 11 net rating. However, both their starting lineup and guys off the bench will have to be able to space the floor and knock down their threes in order to maximize their chances this postseason. And Detroit has great depth with guys like Dennis Jenkins, Karis LeVert, Javonte Green, Ron Holland, and Isaiah Stewart coming in and giving them great energy and versatility on both ends of the floor. And now looking at the Magic, Orlando has dealt with injuries pretty much all season, and they haven't really been able to find that consistency when they're all on the court together. The starting lineup does have a plus 8.6 net rating together, but the Magic haven't really been effective when Bane, Franz, and Paolo are all on the court together. However, they are coming off their best game of the season in the play-in with a dominating performance versus the Charlotte Hornets, so it'll be interesting to see if they can carry some of that momentum over to this series. And now looking at some defensive assignments, first for the Pistons. Starting at point guard with Jalen Suggs, I think Cade Cunningham and Dennis Jenkins would get him most of the time. And I think Cade would guard Suggs rather than Bane, as Bane kind of likes to move without the ball a little bit more and kind of run off screen. So I think the Pistons would choose to conserve Cade's energy a little bit more here. And then guarding Bane, I have Robinson and Herter, but I would also expect to see a lot of guys like Karis LeVert, Javonte Green, and Ron Holland on Bane. And then for Franz, Asor Thompson, I think, would start on him, but I would expect to see a lot of LeVert, Javonte Green, and Ron Holland as well. And then same goes for Paolo. I have Tobias Harris to start on him, but I think Thompson and Harris are pretty interchangeable there. And then in the middle, Wendell Carter defended by Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart. And now looking at the Magic's projected defensive assignments, first at point, Cade Cunningham, I think, is guarded by some combination of Suggs, Bane, and Anthony Black, trying to keep a fresh body on him at all times. And I think for this group of guards, it would be imperative for them to try and disrupt Cade as much as possible, trying to get the ball out of his hands and make other people beat them. And then for Duncan Robinson, I think Bane and Tristan da Silva get this assignment, as I think they would do a good job of following Robinson on off-ball screens and staying attached to him on the perimeter. And then Asor Thompson, guarded by Franz Wagner and Jamal Cain, not known much of an offensive threat or a shooter there. And then Tobias Harris, guarded by Paolo, backed up by Noah Penda or some forward off the bench for the Magic. And then in the middle, Jalen Duren, guarded by Wendell Carter and Gogo Batadze. And it will be super important for these bigs to keep Duren off the offensive glass and try to keep him out of the paint as much as possible. And lastly, looking at some X factors in the series, First, Dennis Jenkins has been one of the biggest surprises in the league this season and has earned every minute that he's gotten in his increased role, especially when Cade Cunningham went down. And Jenkins has been averaging 9 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1 steal per game, while shooting 41% from the field, 37% from three, and 83% from the line. And Jenkins will need to continue to be an efficient shooter and be able to take some ball handling responsibilities off Cade Cunningham when he's in the game, as well as being able to apply that great ball pressure that he's been doing all season long. And then Anthony Black has really elevated his game this year for the Magic and has stepped up big time when Suggs, Franz, and Paolo have all missed time. Black has been averaging 15 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and over 1 steal per game, while shooting 45% from the field, 33% from three, and 73% from the line. And Anthony will need to be able to knock down his perimeter shots and do a good job of pressuring Cade when he's bringing up the ball when he's defending him. And to wrap things up today, these two teams have already matched up 4 times this season, with the two splitting the season series 2 games apiece. And both of these teams have a defensive identity and really try to disrupt what their opponents are doing on that end of the floor. And the Pistons have been the best team in the East pretty much all season, but I am wondering whether their lack of scoring options and shooting behind Cade will hurt them in the playoffs. And Orlando has really not lived up to the preseason expectations that they had. And then a lot of that is due to the injuries, but they certainly have an uphill battle against Detroit in the series. And overall, I think these teams are pretty similar on paper, and I think the series will definitely be the lowest scoring out of all of the first round matchups. But overall, I think that Detroit wins the series 4-1 over Orlando. I think the Magic could force a game 6, but I don't really see it going past there. I think Detroit has just been playing well all season and have a great chemistry with everyone who steps onto the floor. And I think the Pistons would struggle more against a team who can really shoot the ball, like a Celtics or like New York or Cleveland, rather than a team that's more similar in defensive style to them, like the Magic. So that is going to be it for me today, everyone. If you did enjoy this, please be sure to subscribe, like, and comment, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.